plants and humans and the soil, we're all the same. The soil is the gut. If your gut is sick, then you're sick. They say that navel oranges, the Florida navel, doesn't grow in Florida anymore. Well, I beg to differ. 90% of those fertilizers that you people are using is going into our aquifers. So let's change that. Let's be like Mother Nature.
Our potential, it's exponential.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another podcast. We're here at the studio with Bryan. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, Jack. Appreciate it, bud.
Yeah, man.
How's it going, guys?
Hey,
nice
y'all.
to be here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And thank you for coming, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got so much history and good knowledge with soil and plants and experience with it. So I want to just share with people, kind of pick your brain a little bit today.
All right, well, pick yours as well.
Yeah.
Make it happen, you know?
Yeah,
How we can go about it. You know, it's going to be good.
Love it. Yeah, so good. So anyways, yeah, so tell people you're now brokeraging, or however you want to call it, selling soil.
Yeah, I work with
and fertilizer, right?
Yeah. And plants too, but less so, more so about the soil health, providing a, great option for, true health in soils, so that we can, you can grow the best plants, have the best grass, so on and so forth.
I love it.
We have
whatever application.
Absolutely.
Best soil.
It's all about we've talked about it, Jack, but it's all about having the correct ratios, and as long as we have
about that a little bit.
As long as we have the correct ratios, of nutrients and micronutrients and trace minerals, then the plant thrives. I always like to look at the plants and the soil is we're people. Plants are people and plants are the same. So your gut, okay, you have all this microbial activity that is in good soil, not in this stuff that we have toxified and used all these synthetic fertilizers and everything else in. We're talking about real soil with microbial activity so that it can do its job. They eat the bad stuff, they eat the good stuff, their waste is, what the plants need. Well, we start from the very beginning with our, perfectly designed soil matrix so that it's good to go. And, there it is. Let the plants go to work.
Yeah, that's it. And then they excrete, and then it's more available for the plants to uptake.
Yeah, right? With the microbial activity.
Right.
So as I was saying, with our bodies, our gut, we have the microbial activity. The soil has the microbial activity.
That's right.
Okay. The plants, if there's nothing in the soil, or if nutrients are off, then, the plant doesn't thrive.
That's
okay.
Right. Like our bodies, right? We don't.
Same thing.
You go to the doctor, they say, "Hey, you don't have vitamins."
So for anybody out there,
Yeah.
Just think about it. Plants and humans and the soil, we're all the same. Okay. Wow. Correct ratios, nutrients, non-toxic. You do away with it. All the BS, all the synthetics, it's out of here.
Yeah, that's
we want
right.
none of it.
It's really the future is going towards this stuff, right? Not just organic, but like the whole systems approach, right? What's in the soil?
Yeah, of course, Jack.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know this.
Come on. Yeah.
You know this because it's true.
It's important. Yeah. It's the whole deal.
Mention too, man, with the organic, I'm big on organic, but one thing I'm not necessarily big on, and you could take this out if you'd like, is the certifications of organic. Because that's when you get back into the whole bureaucracy,
that's right,
things of that nature. Okay, you have to pay the money. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have a product and you truly know that it's organic or as organic as you can make it, then it's organic. There's no need to pay for a company to certify it. There's no need to, and because of that, there's also no need to raise the price of your fruits, your vegetables, or your whatever herbs, because they are. Because that's what we need to do is we need to have this level. The organic industry has always been so much higher priced, and it really does deter a lot of people because they can't afford it. Let's bring it down to where everybody can afford it. And the more you do it, and the more I do it, and the more other people do it,
Yes.
then what's going to happen is it's going to come down because it's more plentiful.
There's more supply.
More supply.
That's it.
Okay, there's a
It's
demand.
just the norm.
Demand's
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, we all know this.
Brother, I don't sell produce. I talked about this before. Yeah. People hitting me up every day of the week
Yeah.
for, hey, do you sell your produce? We can I get a box of your stuff?
Yeah. Well,
And yeah,
never
it's
know.
fun to do, but like, man, the demand's there.
Absolutely.
The demand's there.
So,
But yeah, man. So it's good stuff. Yeah. So you were even out in my garden. You were looking. You were like, hey, man, I could already tell some little tweaks.
sure.
You could look at the plants, and I love it. Guys, pros really could do that. They walk into a space, they could see the details. I think about that sometimes. A garden to someone, it could be way different to somebody, the eye of somebody else.
Absolutely.
Right? Like someone could think it's perfect, and to me or you, it's like dilapidated. It could be, or whatever, or vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then there's a pro,
Yeah.
who really comes in. It's like, whoa, it's deficient in X, magnesium or whatever.
Yep. Yeah,
can crank it up
there's
next season.
Telltale signs of all these things. But I mean, your garden looks nice. But yeah, I mean, I'm always going to
Thanks.
go out and a pro. I don't know, thanks, Jack, but a pro,
Yeah.
got some experience. Pro, yeah,
Yeah, cool.
But,
But you're an enthusiast. I would say there's like
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
There's a close, would you agree? There's kind of some people are pros and they don't take it seriously. Whatever, think of any profession.
Absolutely.
If they don't really take it seriously, they cannot be really as tuned in as someone who's just doing it for fun.
Well, taking pride. Taking pride is taking it seriously. I
Taking
translate
pride.
to taking pride is taking seriously. And if you're into it, if you're into it, man, you should take pride in it. And if you're taking pride in it, you're being serious about it. And that shows.
It's the same thing, right? Passion.
Excuse me.
Yeah, no, you get the passion and being like taking something serious. It's like the same thing,
Yeah.
Whatever, like when people talk about it, it's like, oh, I'm just serious about fishing or whatever. Playing guitar.
Yeah.
But dude, I love that. Yeah. I was just thinking about that the other day to my team. I was like, guys, be proud of your garden. Like what you just said, be proud. And it's like, man, because that's where it's at. When you're proud of it, it's not like you can't go wrong. You're going to have a good result because you're going to be out there loving on the plants, taking care of it.
Absolutely.
Enthusiastic, excited about it.
And what's great too is kind of like, how I stepped in here and I'm looking around and we already had a little bit of a conversation, but if you have other people that come and they look and that do know what they're more or less talking about, then you listen. It's like we can always learn,
Yes.
We're life, we continuously learn,
Love that.
Write
Yeah.
that one down.
Yeah. Write that one down, ladies and gentlemen. No, that's it. We're always learning. Yeah. I love that.
And so
you're how old are you?
95. No, I'm 51.
51, yeah. But
Be 52
still
this year.
learning. Yeah. Like, dude, always learning.
I
know 18-year-olds who stop learning. They think they know it, right?
That's
And
just
they're
a kid.
Yeah.
We've all been there. When I was up until the age of, I'd say,
That's wisdom too.
honestly, man, mid 30s, even 40, I knew it all. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
to a certain degree,
the
that
ego
is.
came
To a certain
in there.
degree. Well, you're on your mission.
Me
You're
too,
doing your
man.
thing.
I relate. No, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But here we are, and initially you're like, damn, I really don't know that much. I've done this wrong. Lots of good stuff, but, you can look at it. It's all experience.
You're right.
I've mentioned my friend, who I work underneath, Dana Venrick. Okay. He's up in DeLand. Company is Quality Green Specialist. That's who I work with. He's 83 years old, I believe. And, I've mentioned, man, he's a wealth of knowledge. It's tremendous. And I could never imagine having someone at my fingertips with the type of knowledge that this individual has. And I go and I listen to him. I write down. I've probably written the same thing. I don't know how many times, so many times, just because I want to learn. I want it to sink in.
When you meet with them.
When I meet with him.
Wow.
And he just drops knowledge, just drops it. That's how he is. And he wants to share it because he also wants to share his knowledge so that people will continue.
Right.
You know, I mean, if he dies,
will continue.
if he dies, well, you know,
Right.
knowing this, having this information,
Wow.
you know,
It's 100.
if
Dude,
he
I think
dies,
about
it's
that.
gone.
Some of my friends who are wealth of knowledge. Wow. Shout out Dana.
Yes, sir. Shout out Dana.
Yeah, you're
He's
telling
the
me
man.
about him. Yeah.
Yeah.
83.
Yeah. Still works on his nursery every day.
Wow.
Travels all over the place, delivering items, doing soil analysis, going to farms, you know, oranges, you know, which, by the way, I'm going to plug this one in. They say that naval oranges, the Florida naval, doesn't grow in Florida anymore. Well, I beg to differ.
Hey, tell him.
10 acres. I've seen a 10-acre farm. Have had the pleasure of going on to it with him. It was great. Went on to it. He tells me before, hey, Bryan, you know the navel orange, they say it doesn't grow here anymore. And then we pull up on the farm, meet the owner, walking around, beautiful navel oranges everywhere. Left there with a big old box, myself.
Is that right?
And it's all because he started taking care of it. He did the soil analysis. First, he straightened it out, put the right amendments down right off the bat, and then custom blended the fertilizers so that he could add them. And they do them on 3 times a year, typically 1 full, 2 halves. And then from there, so for the last 2 years, navel oranges flush, packed in. Wow. Yeah. But all these orange groves that have went down
Suffer.
all these years, and now they've been selling their property off to the developers and everything else because they're not making any money.
That's right.
Well, all that can be adjusted.
Wow.
It takes time,
It's skills.
Yeah.
It's skills.
but you got to know.
Wow.
And there's a lot of people that run around here saying that they're experts, you know, agronomists and everything else. And again, I beg to differ.
Yeah. Put him up against Dana.
I
love that.
I don't think there's
Interesting.
anybody that can. I've never heard anybody
No.
that does what he does.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm very fortunate to be able to work with him.
Amazing.
And I'm also very, you know, consider myself very fortunate to be sitting here, you know, and having the opportunity to
Thank
talk
you,
to
brother.
this audience,
Yeah, man.
Urban Abundance, and also, you know, get the magic mix up in your deal.
That's right. Let's get
Yeah.
it. No, I want to
It's
use
coming.
it. Yeah, it's got to be
coming.
guaranteed. Soil's just got to hit for the plants to go. Yeah.
You know it, man.
But I
Start
want to
with the good
stay on this,
stuff.
bro. I want to stay on this because this is so good. It's next level. It's like getting the guest who really. It's like because you've been doing this a couple decades. This guy, 6 decades, whatever it's been.
He's
Deep.
he grew
knowledge.
up in this.
Amazing.
He grew up in this.
Yeah,
His
it's
family
central.
were farmers.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I want to. Isn't that amazing? Because I saw a video the other day, Bryan, yesterday maybe. I've made videos about it. I've had guests on who say citrus, you cannot do because of the the disease comes in, disease, and it does. But
Why?
yeah, why? Yeah, good question. Why?
we know why. We just addressed it, man.
Soil, brother.
Dude, if you've been putting nothing but nitrous, phosphorus, and
The
potassium down, and heavy loads 10 10 10 20 20 20, just every 4 times a year they're throwing this stuff onto the earth, all that happens, man, is there's nothing else put down. All they're having is this spike growth of these 3 materials, which really aren't that important.
Right.
They're important in small amounts.
You're talking about the full spectrum.
The micronutrients, the
Right.
macros, those are extreme.
Wow.
The
So
NPKs, as I said,
it's the immune system.
totally. Wow. It's sick. Wow. If your gut is sick, then you're sick.
Yeah.
The soil is the gut,
Wow.
So that's
cool.
all it is. But they have extremely locked it up. He was sharing some knowledge with me recently about the whole glyphosate issue.
Right.
Well, now, and this may be, I can't say the exact things, chemicals. Now they revamped Roundup to where they say now it's good. Well, from what I've heard from reputable sources, is there's 2 ingredients in there that are worse than glyphosate.
Oh my goodness.
Worse.
In the new weed
Yeah,
killer.
the new weed killer.
It's like the new formula.
So that's yeah.
Dude. Yeah, I mean that's a bad practice,
use
man.
it,
Yeah.
man.
Totally. And like you said, it goes deep, guys. It's a spectrum. I know people who are spraying like crazy. I had a client, and I have people who are like a client who's doing a new food for us. Call me yesterday. I was on the phone for like 30 minutes. And I was happy to do it because he cares. He doesn't want the grass guys to come in and spray and, there's poison everywhere. He's like, Jack, I don't know what to do. My wife wants it to be safe. And it's like a real issue nowadays because it's the norm to spray and do all these things. It's on the land.
Totally.
And they don't understand that aspect where it affects that immune system. It runs off. It you know what I mean? But he was listening like, okay, well, how could I adjust my system
to mine? And that's great that people listen, and more people are listening. They really are.
Totally.
I mean, they want to hear this. That people are becoming in tune with this. I mean, this is our world. This is our earth. We live here.
You're talking about conventional though, at the scale of like with the citrus growth, conventional practices.
And I mean,
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Now in citrus, for example, let's just go into tree farms, because citrus is damn near dead here, because it's been sold off. Most of the citrus land has been sold off.
Wow.
Well, we were talking about this recently. Weed killer. Dude, the one guy, he comes in with a torch and just scorches underneath the trees. Scorches them.
Organic.
Doesn't hurt the tree at all. Just comes in and scorches them.
One of those $50 torches you get
comes in pretty much like a flamethrower.
That's sweet. On a hot day, you got to watch out. I've hit some hedges. It's all flames the head. It's all good.
But, they got it worked out.
No, exactly.
But
they're in a field.
Yeah, instead of, putting down weed killer and stuff, and again, man,
they've
I
actually
forget
designed.
What it was.
Sorry to interrupt, brother.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, it's so good. You're saying organic alternatives, man, all over the place.
Yeah.
But they've actually designed ones for the rows, for the veggie garden.
Sure.
That just flame.
Yeah.
Go around it's sweet.
Yeah.
With
See,
wheels.
Yeah. See, this is one that I'm not aware of, but because I just know about dudes doing it with the old school. He's like, literally a flamethrower. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a trip, but that's better.
Yeah.
Great design.
Yeah.
But what is it? The half-life of something that's in the ground. Like those are the products I was telling you about. I'm going to get the information for you exactly. But it was insane. They're forever chemicals. They never leave. Like for them to go away, it's going to be 1,000 years. Yeah.
You're saying it accumulates
there's builds up, and then once it becomes so toxic, it's basically dead.
Bro, and that's a good point, Brian. Jeez, because I'm thinking about, we were talking about it. Maybe it's a good shift. Because you were even just getting it to the solution. I interrupted you. My apologies.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
man.
bro. No, we're chilling. But you're getting to the earth and, man, to the solution. And people are going to love. And they're going to it. So, brother, tell me about it. Because you were telling me about. Because, guys, the stuff that Brian uses, the stuff we use, break down. It's organic. It's meant to go through the cycles of the seasons, right?
Absolutely.
Are you with me?
Absolutely.
It's like, man, if we tune into that cycle. And a little bit more, all these answers are right there. But dude, tell me about, because you were talking about humic acid.
Humic and fulvics.
And fulvic is the next level. And dude, I've been using humic acid for a while now. Do you want to just talk about that real quick?
Humic acid is great. It's a carbon source, heavy carbon source.
It's like the bottom of a compost pile.
Basically.
Humus, they call that, right,
totally.
guys? Yeah.
Exactly.
You used to read in books, and that just means carbon.
Carbon is number one. That's a number one for plant growth. Okay. Number two, some people may rebut against this, is silicon dioxide. It's number two. And this is quoting from Dana. Okay. And I'll go ahead and I trust him. All right. Those two things right there, that's 1 and 2.
And what's 3?
Those elements. Number 3, I would say oxygen, hydrogen, oxygen.
Wow.
Okay. That's what I would safe to say.
Wow.
All right. But with all these things, with the carbon, okay, you have the humic acid. Now we go into the fulvic. What the fulvic is, it's basically the same thing. It's the carbon source, but it is a much smaller molecule. And when you get into the smaller molecules, that's when they call, there's some companies, they call this one product Reox, and it's available for you guys if you'd like. We have it. But it's primarily a fulvic. Okay, it turns all of these they put it through this process, whether it be the nitrogen, all these different elements. They put through this process and they decrease the molecular size and down to fulvic size.
So it's real like microscopic.
And then you remember me telling you about the whole chain link fence thing?
Yeah.
You know, think about that, audience. You got a chain link fence, you throw a tennis ball through it. The tennis ball is the molecule size. Throw it to the chain link fence. We all know it sticks. Okay, make it smaller. Now we got the Humic. Okay, golf ball. Throw it through. All right, goes right through.
It works.
Okay, fulvic. You can decrease that by 30 times, that golf ball. Now throw it through. What happens? How much more of those molecules can get through that fence? Okay, well, that's the uptake of the root system. So
incredible.
Just to break it down like that.
That's
So the humic acid, the carbon source, fulvic's carbon source. And
put a bunch
the
of tennis
molecular
balls
size.
in there. It's not, you put a bunch of tennis balls, not going to take it in a week or two.
Look at those roots. You know how the roots are, the hairs on the roots, like a nice flush, like lush root system.
Yeah.
White.
Yeah.
Got all these fresh hairs just coming out. Those right there, that's like a sponge. So I kind of think of that as a root, a sponge. Okay, and the more hairs that are coming off of that, the more absorbent that sponge is. And when you get down to a fulvic size molecule, it's just able to just suck it up, like with little to no resistance.
Hey guys, just wanted to take a moment to talk about our sponsor, Urban Abundance. We help people grow food at home. And if that's something you're interested in doing, or maybe you don't know where to get started, or it's really overwhelming, but you want to grow food, give us a call today. We help you design, install, and maintain your garden. We do fruit trees, we help you with maintenance, and we just really want to make sure you're getting the result you want and you're growing food. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link below and get on your garden design phone call today. Let's get back to the video.
Nothing catching.
Yeah. Plants
healthy, plants green. We were talking about a little bit earlier. You can do foliar sprays occasionally if you want, just to get that, foliar's good.
Foliar with the fulvic.
Yeah, for real.
Foliar is good.
Foliar's great.
They say, honestly, peppers and some things, they take it in better through the leaves.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
And we mentioned it earlier, like with the fruits and whatnot. You want to do it usually prior to flower, or like right then, the very beginning of flower.
Exactly.
Or else you end up possibly burning, because you don't want the liquid to be sitting on them, nutrients to be sitting on them.
When it's
That's
leaves,
early, like at a flush.
veg stage.
Like that flush, that later flush kind of thing. You lay it on early on, a couple times a year,
Yeah, when it's like, when it's just leaves, hit the leaves, take it in. Yeah, foliar is good.
Like the one I told you, the Superhume seaweed plus.
Yeah.
And it's a good product.
Wow. Superhume.
Yep.
Takes in all that goodness.
And again, they put it through the reox process to bring it down to a fulvic level.
Wow.
Molecules. So it's good stuff.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love it. We were talking earlier. What do you think though about? Because I'm on this trip where it's like, man, if you get the soil right, you don't have to foliar spray as much. What do you think about that?
I agree 100%.
Right.
And if you have the correct ratios of nutrients in your soil, I mean, the roots are sitting in it, their job is to uptake, not in Mother Nature now rain does have a little bit of nutrients in it because things evaporate through the atmosphere, and so it does have some nutrients.
There's nitrogen
but also there's
there.
a lot of crap that's in the environment too. Wow. Okay.
That's a good point. Everything accumulates.
Yeah. Everything does.
Wow.
The aluminums, the situation.
Man, we don't understand. We're part of the entire water cycle.
Totally.
We're a part of it. Everything.
And since you say water, let's talk water, because then we get into where my passion is the soils. Yes, the correct fertilizers. But, look at our water systems, what's going on with them. All these synthetic fertilizers that these people have been using for so long and are going to continue using. There's some of these people that are never going to change. But that's big industry.
Yeah.
We're not going to call them out. I think most people know what we're talking about. But we can make a difference, and we can make a big difference because there is more of us.
Yes.
Okay. If instead of putting stuff on your lawn that is 10, 10, 10, synthetics, oxide form, fertilizers, literally 10% gets taken up. If you put a 10-10-10 down on the ground, 10% of that is going to get used by the, let's say, grass. 10%. What happens to the rest of it?
Runs off.
Runs off. And then what
So
that runoff,
so-
what happens?
so you're telling us
90%.
90%.
90% of those fertilizers that you people are using, 90% of that,
Tell 'em.
okay, is going into our aquifers,
Bro,
which is also going into our lakes, into our canals, blue-green algae, all these things, oyster beds disappearing,
I've heard
all
about
this. Barnacles not being back up in the Loxhatchee River. I grew up on it. Barnacles everywhere, oysters everywhere. You can go on seawalls now and minimal. Well, it's because of all the junk. So let's change that. Let's be like Mother Nature. The correct elements, proper nutrition, things that stick, don't just run through.
Yeah.
That way plants have plenty of time to uptake it. They're going to use it.
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
always going to be a little bit of
Wow.
flow, but it's not toxic chemicals.
But it's not ending up in the aquifers and all these. Yeah,
No.
that's a good point, man. 10%.
10%.
Wow.
I heard a figure years ago, it's about 10 years ago. They say the Mississippi River, they say over 80% of all the fertilizer used throughout the farm belt, over 80% of it ends up in the Gulf of Mexico.
Well, not Gulf of America.
Gulf of America, yeah, okay. It's going to take some getting used to, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's so for so long, it's been
all
that.
of ours, Gulf of,
But dude,
yeah. Jeez,
but
that's
it's
awful.
like 80%.
And by the way, guys, that nitrogen, they said that blue-green algae and all of this was because of the nitrogen and all these things. And
the
by the way, cow,
phosphorus.
and also cow nitrogen from Ocala and stuff. I heard that was a lot of that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
also the fertilizers they're using. I mean, man,
Oh, yeah.
it ends up in the water. That's what the bottom line is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not no good.
No. So if we can do what we are doing,
Yeah, man.
providing proper nutrition, not
And
using
awareness,
toxic chemicals,
talking about
and
it,
talking
awareness.
about it,
Awareness.
have people listen. And, you can take everything to heart or you can just hear it a little bit. But if you hear it enough times, eventually it's going to sink in,
It's true.
and I don't have any problem talking about it.
Yeah, that's right.
I enjoy talking about it. And I've said to you before, Jack, you can ask me questions, and if I have the answer, great. But if not, I have someone that does.
You have the guru.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We need to have him on.
I told him this morning, when I talked to him this morning, I said I was going to be coming on.
Yeah.
Here, and he said, that sounds great, Brian. He said,
Hey,
yeah.
that would be amazing.
And as I said to you earlier, I said, I'll, bring him on and have him blow some doors.
Yeah.
83 years old, man.
He's like, wow. Yeah, amazing.
It'd be a great thing to even, if people wanted to, this would be pretty cool. If people wanted to write in and ask questions for something up and coming like that,
That's a good idea.
hey, feel free to write in questions, urban abundance,
Love
chime
that.
in,
See what he
have some
says.
questions, I'll
Have
get
him-
them answered.
Amazing.
Even if he's not here, we'll get him. I'll have the questions answered and you can take care of it. But I would like to get him on. He said he would.
Cool. He grew up in DeLand, Central Florida. Wow.
Yeah. He's from Lakeland originally.
Got it. Yeah, dude, that's the best growing weather.
Yeah.
All the nurseries.
Yeah. He
Wow.
told me a story. I recently have moved to Vero, as you know, in the process right now. He told me recently his granddad, when I told him I was moving to Vero, he's like, oh, Brian, that's great. That's a special place for me. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, my granddad used to walk from Winter Haven to Vero Beach to go to the beach every weekend at the end of the week.
Every week.
And he would go and do business a little bit. This is his granddad. This guy's 83 years old, and this was his granddad. Wow. And he would walk, and it took him 2 days. He would walk for 2 days
from Orlando.
across 60.
Now people drive that
Yeah.
he walked it.
Walked it. And during all that time, this man acquired roughly 3,000 acres through time. that he just acquired through tax deeds, through this, that, and the other, and just
From walking.
he was well. He was just
He
one
was,
of the-
he was thinking on the
he was
road.
making things happen, you know. And then he
That must have been 150 years ago or something.
something like
120.
that, right? And then eventually he had that. Like I know my friend, he has like 10 siblings, and I know when his family passed away, property was handed down to them. I believe all of them got about 300 acres. You know,
Amazing.
pretty cool legacy. You know, just have those types of history and the you know,
Yes.
like, wow, man, you're a granddad.
Because you're a Florida boy, you've seen a lot of those stories.
Oh, yeah.
That's an epic one,
Yeah.
by the way. Yeah, we would walk to the beach.
Walk. Dude.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
We're blessed. We're kind of close, you know, here at Jupiter, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to have it.
Yeah.
But dude, so cool. Yeah, there's so many like stories of that where people had land. They're, you know, granddaddy came down here and now they're selling it to developers.
Yeah.
Some of them are holding on, you know, they want to keep the farm legacy strong, but it's interesting.
But some of them, when you get these developers coming in throwing a couple $100 million at you,
Yeah. The kids don't
I mean,
care
I understand.
too. And
I
you think about it, the
understand.
kid doesn't care too when he inherits it.
a lot of the kids, they
It's
grew up in
100
it, they're
million.
over it.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I just want to do something else.
That's right.
You know, and so they're selling it off.
It's interesting because trust me, I didn't grow up like that with farming and chickens and I like was drawn towards it. So there is something to that.
Well, it's coming back around. I
It
feel
totally
that.
is.
I feel this is coming back around. You
It's a
have
pendulum.
because you're a pretty young dude, right? 32.
You're 32, yeah.
Man, well, you know, a lot more people I think your age and even a little younger, they're becoming more aware of it. Like
Big
it is
time.
coming back around.
Big
you know?
time.
I believe
Buying
that the
plants
next
from me,
generations.
totally.
And if we can because it is going to take the younger people to keep it going. You know, I mean, I'm young enough. I mean, I got years, you know, so I can do things. But then, you know, as we go along, need more people listening. That way, you know, we can just
Facts. But some people are cashing out
For
and
sure.
they're selling, you know, so it's just interesting to watch. We're kind of
Yeah,
Palm Beach wasn't Palm. So you grew up in Palm Beach area?
sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
right here in Jupiter.
This is the biggest like mecca for produce, for peppers.
Was
and
Mecca
wasn't it?
Farms. Mecca Farms.
Yeah, that was wow.
Yeah.
That's what made
Mecca
me think
Farms,
of it.
and if I'm not mistaken, they just sold off a huge piece down in, I want to say Lake Worth or Boynton. Huge to whatever,
Right.
GL Homes or something like that. One of those
And people
guys
could,
bought it.
here. I mean, it totally Central Florida. You could grow plants well here, outdoor.
Donald Ross, man, was Mecca Farms. Donald Ross,
No way.
yeah, east of I-95, Mecca Farms, you pick when I was a kid. Yeah.
Get
Used to
outta
go
here.
and pick
Before all the
tomatoes and
development.
strawberries and everything else right there, all across from, dude, Abacoa,
Yeah,
Mecca Farms.
bro. Bears Club, Yeah, I mean, that's like-
primarily the Abacoa area, all that corner,
Mecca Farms,
that was Mecca Farms.
Abacoa.
Yeah.
Dude, that's all built up. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they were building it, but dude, what a trip.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, man, all the golfers, there were the golfers on TV and stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, they all live like right here.
Well,
Used to be farmland.
You probably
and
know this.
cows.
And people, you know, listening, there's plenty of you that do know this as well. But there was a time Jupiter has been discovered. It got discovered, I'd say, roughly 15 plus years ago. Really discovered, maybe even 20. But that's 15. But there was a time where you could be in, let's say, New York City and tell someone you were from Jupiter, and they're like, "What?" And they make
What
some
planet-
stupid,
what
and they make
pla-
some stupid planet joke, and you're
Yeah.
just like, ah. Well, now you can be
Yeah.
in New York City and you say, I'm from Jupiter. Oh, wow, that place is amazing. Why? Because it's been discovered. You have all the stars and tennis and, you know,
It's true.
sports, everything else. You know, they're here. You know, musicians.
I've
and
had
that's
friends
cool.
reach out. They're like, "Oh, dude, do you golf? Do you see the golfers? Do you golf?"
Yeah. I'm
They
like,
just
no.
want- yeah, yeah, me too. I'm gardening next to the course.
I'm not hating
Yeah,
on golfers, but I will
totally.
say
we work
this.
with a bunch of
I will say, though, that they need to get on to the whole program, too, the golfers, because good one. Du Bois Park. We all know this, okay?
Yeah.
The golf course is attached to Du Bois Park. The
Yeah.
development right there on the north side of the entrance. All that, really. All that municipal land, even way back up where the canals go back up. out of that little area right there, that runoff, most people that are from here know this, but some of you that aren't won't. Toxic, man. I can personally go, my system's sensitive. I can personally go into DuBois Lagoon, and for about a day and a half, I feel like I'm coming down with a flu.
No way.
Yeah.
It's good.
And it happens within hours of leaving there.
I've heard of this. Wow.
Yeah. Like literally. And it can even be when the tide is incoming. Never go in it when it's outgoing. If you go in when it's outgoing, you are probably getting radiation for that matter.
What?
No, you're not, but toxic.
No way.
Yeah.
Right in the heart of Juke.
So what can we do, man? Decrease the toxic input. Wow. If we decrease the toxic input, the golf courses, the grass covers like the majority of the state of Florida, as far as like, within, the areas that people live. Grass.
Managed
yeah,
areas.
managed areas. Grass. People want their grass green. Well, we can make your grass green. We can make it green without the toxic chemicals.
Without the 90% ending up there. Because that's where it ends up, DuBois Park.
Yeah.
And by the way, the families want to be there. We love our water. That's
Absolutely.
the thing, bro. We love our water. That's a shame.
All the rivers, you hear the St. Lucie, all of it, man.
Yeah.
Toxic.
Yeah.
So
and
go back to it, go back to it.
That's
Decrease
it, brother.
that.
And I just think, man, your message is so good today, because it's like, less of those practices. Like we start now, it does matter.
Absolutely.
But it bioaccumulates right there. So interesting.
Yeah, that's the
the
funnel,
So what are because that's interesting, man. What are the spots that are like untouched? Like, what is the hope? Where's the
untouched?
I mean, yeah, do we just have to stop? I mean, I just think about,
it's going to take time, dude. But we're starting, this movement is coming on. It's been coming on, but it's happening. But just more people need to listen. I mean, I talk to people.
It's going to take time.
And I'm sure you do too. I talk to people regularly, and they're like, yeah, I want to use good products. I want to use organic. I don't want my food to be, chemical, fed by chemicals. Great. But then sometimes what happens with those people, I've done it recently, these people in a development, small subdivision, yet we want to go organic with our lawns. Okay. Fine. So I sell some few bags of fertilizer to them. When I tell them the price, now granted, the price is a little more expensive than the average synthetic fertilizer. But again, everybody, what did I just say about the percentage that ends up in our aquifers compared to what is being used by the plants? 90%. Okay. Ours, that's not happening. Okay.
It's
to be a little more expensive.
How much runs off?
With our product?
Yeah.
Dude, we're going to switch those. Yeah,
Invert
flip-flop those numbers.
So 10% runs off.
You're going to be at a 10% runoff compared
to
that 90%. Because remember, these others are oxide form, man. They're gone. Relatively no chance for microbial activity to break it down. It's like that, okay? So literally, we can pretty well flip-flop those.
Now it's in the plant.
Yeah. Now it's in the soil.
Man, because that's the thing. Part of this change too, Bryan. You're exactly on it. It is happening. By the way, it's been like 50, 100 years, whatever accumulation of this dredging canals and messing with the oyster beds, like you said, all these things, making abacoa, whatever. People live there now. People are people. We love them. But you're right. It's been this ongoing path of that. So it is just not happening where it's, the healing, let the healing begin.
Yeah, man.
It's just happening.
It is. That's a great way to put it. Let the healing begin. Mm-hmm. And, people becoming aware of it. This helps, talking about it. I know there's a podcast, which I mentioned, that Dana speaks on once a month on a Saturday.
Oh, cool.
And, it's great. But even then, he comes on, he talks about his stuff, he has his thing. And then even the people that do it, I find them, plugging in other products like throughout the thing, because they have to fund their projects and whatever.
Yeah, man.
But not anything toxic, but like glyphosate, for example, or the Roundup. Like saying, oh yeah, the new formula Roundup. It's a much safer thing. Well, that's when he tells me, no, man, it's not.
Right, it's marketing.
Because I talked to him and I was like, man, yeah, they're preaching that kind of a little bit. And he's like, Yeah, I don't know, man. It's the two chemicals that they're utilizing are actually worse.
He knows. Of course he knows.
And it was like I said, the half-life. You know, he's like it's like
Yeah.
it's going to take 1,000 years to get rid of it. Like it's like forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. Yeah, well, we'll keep it up, man. Dude, I appreciate you coming and sharing all the goodness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How can people, yeah, what I want to share, tell the audience, how can people get hooked up with soil, fertilizer, all the goodness that you're talking about?
I'm Bryan Whitehead. Okay. Jack knows how to get in touch with me, but Quality Green Specialists.
Cool.
Quality Green Specialists.
We can put your
is our
your
company.
info too, whatever in the description.
Sure, we can do
Get
that.
it below,
It's not a
yeah.
problem.
Bryan Whitehead.
Bryan Whitehead.
Yeah, man.
I'll give him my phone number. It's fine with me.
Yeah, that's
Call me
it.
561-215-8101.
There it is.
I'd love to speak to you. I'd love to share with you. And if you have any questions, as I said to Jack, if I can answer them, I will. If I
Love
cannot,
it, man.
I'll get it answered for you.
You're the man. That's it, bro. I love it. I told people that on Facebook, bro. I was like, here's my number. Call me. Like, like they were like, oh, I did, because I'm not on Facebook that much, or whatever. And I was, hey, like, what did just hit me up,
Yeah.
But it's at that point where, like, man, got to get the info out.
Yeah.
Got to get the info out. I mean, there is a degree. We had someone who just showed up the other day, like, oh, I'm here for plants.
Yeah.
And like, oh, shoot, I got to go to the job site, But
You got other stuff to do.
yeah, but dude, however we could help, right? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
get the resources to
Yeah.
the people, garden resources.
That's it, man. You
Yeah.
know, and you guys are doing a great job, providing raised beds and plants for
Thanks,
people.
man,
People can, I know that this is a big thing that's happening right now. People are wanting to grow their own produce and whatnot, raising chickens as well.
Yes.
I mean, it's a great thing, because people want to be self-sustained, and, and you provide a good service, and then, we provide good soils and amendments. We go hand in hand,
I love it, man.
help each other out. We help each other to help others,
Yeah, that's it.
Just make it
to help
happen.
the land.
That's it.
So good.
All big chain, man. Big circle of life.
Yeah, man.
We'll just keep it going.
Brian, thank you for coming, man.
Absolutely, dude.
Awesome.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
See you guys.
Take care. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, another awesome video. Thank you for watching and all your support. Hey, do me a favor, click the like and subscribe button down below if you haven't already. It goes a long way. We'll see you in the next one.